So we're starting to really see that when women get appropriate care early, it makes a big difference to the cost and to their health.
Welcome to Taking Care of Lady Business, where we get real about what it takes to succeed, whether it's in business, life, or both. I'm talking to game-changing and visionary women who've broken barriers, built empires, and redefined success on their own terms. They'll share their strategies, secrets, and the no BS advice you need to rise to the top. I'm your host, Jennifer Justice, also known as JJ. Let's get into it. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Taking Care of Lady Business. I'm Jennifer Justice. Today, we have Joanna Strober. She is the founder and CEO of Midi Health. Hi, Joanna.
Hi. Delighted to be here.
I'm so happy you are here. It is, your company is obviously groundbreaking, cutting edge, everything that you have started, and it's so necessary and just insane that there is, if you are lucky enough to get to 50, right? And you will go through menopause or earlier, you know what I mean? And the fact that no one had been paying any attention to it for so long, it's still just like heartbreaking to me, knowing that our generations above us of women just kind of dealt with it, or it is what it is. And so I'm really excited to get into this today. And I know everyone listening will. So thank you for that. So let's just start with how you started. What was that aha moment that this is what I need to do?
Yeah. I mean, for me, this really was very personal. I went through perimenopause in my 40s and had a lot of really challenging health issues related to it. I was having anxiety. I wasn't sleeping, gaining weight because I was overeating because I was so tired. It really had a big impact on my marriage, quite honestly. I was angry a lot. I had lost my libido. It was a lot going on.
Yeah.
And I could not get people to help me in the right way. The primary care doctor sent me to get a sleep study and gave me some sleeping pills. I ended up going to a therapist. I didn't need a therapist, but I was having a lot of anxiety, and all of that was actually hormonal related. And no one actually was able to say, actually, that's just related to your hormones. Why don't we get you the right medication to help? And eventually I found this doctor who I had to pay $1,000, and I went to her and she got me the right stuff. And within 2 weeks, my whole life had changed and it was better. And I was really happy for myself, but really angry that it took so long to get the right care and that so many people had given me the wrong care. And so that was really the impetus behind all this. And what happened was I started thinking a lot about how would we scale this? If you could do a menopause company, what would that look like? And for a long time, I didn't think you could prior to COVID, because
why is that? Why didn't you think you could?
Well, I think if you really want to build a big company, something that matters to the world, it has to take insurance. I just don't think you can do a cash pay business that makes a big difference in the world. I mean, you can, but it's much harder. So for me, it was a question, right? So the question was, how could we get insurance? Prior to COVID, you couldn't do what we're doing because you couldn't have a national insurance covered company. When the COVID health laws changed, so now virtual care would get covered by insurance, then it was that was the big aha moment. Now we could take the best perimenopause clinic in the world and scale that expertise nationally and get the care covered by insurance. So that was the big aha for us.
And what were you doing prior to all this, before you were like, okay, let's start this whole company? What's your
This is my fifth act. I'm not joking.
I love that.
It really is my fifth act. I was a lawyer for a year. I was in venture investing for a long time. I did some private equity investing. I started a company that worked on childhood obesity and then I sold that to Weight Watchers, and I worked at Weight Watchers. So I've done a lot of different things.
And so you're not a doctor.
I'm not a doctor. No.
Right. So, and I think that it's so important to, A, fifth act, B, started a health company without being a doctor,
Yeah. But I do have a lot of doctors that I work with, so I don't downplay that at all. Yes. We work with a lot of doctors, and my job is to extend their expertise So to use technology to basically extend their expertise, but to really, our care is focused on the work that doctors do.
So you had this idea pre-COVID, then did it launch pre-COVID? When
No,
did it
no, no.
launch?
We didn't do anything until a
Yeah.
year into COVID, and we realized that this insurance company opportunity had changed. And it was interesting. Now that I think about it, the biggest risk when we first started getting funding for this was whether the COVID laws would go back and telehealth would stop being covered by insurance.
Right. I know, but you can just get so much more. Think about the people in rural communities who just can't, even if they could afford the gas to drive to the place, do they have the time on top of it? You
Right.
know? Right. So it's like, it's such a game changer in so many ways when you can do this via telehealth. And so we start from the beginning, like you put this, you'd raised money, you'd been at, VC and private equity. So you understood that part of
Yeah.
it. Right? I find when women start companies, there's always one part that you know, but you're not expected to know the rest of it. So you find other people. So what was your first partner hire? How did you figure out how to really kickstart it?
The first thing we did was a pilot. We found two great doctors that we trusted and that were both OBGYNs and had primary care expertise. But they were real menopause experts. And we started with 150 women that we recruited on Facebook. And we basically said, we will give you great perimenopause, menopause care for 3 months. And you just have to give us constant feedback on what you like, what you don't like, how it feels to you. Are you, the medication's working, everything. And so we did this pilot for 3 months, which was great. And we learned a lot. And then we're like, okay, we're done. We're going to go and build a product. And we got 150 angry emails saying, no, you can't go away. Like, we need this. You can't stop providing this care while you're building the product because I have no place else to go.
Yeah.
And so that was the aha moment for me was, wow, like we really are building something that people can't get elsewhere.
Did you at this point had the information about the HRT study come out where it was kind of debunked that it was such
Yeah.
a bad thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although, yes. And, that has actually, the drum beat around that has gotten louder and louder, thankfully. But
Yeah.
still, only 3.8% of women in this country take hormones. And when you
Wow,
think
that is
about
so low.
so low, right? So a lot of it is education and explaining to people here are the challenges of the hormones. Here's what you need to think about. Here's why you don't need to be scared of them. That is a lot of what we do. And then we iterate with you to help you feel better. So often you might try a patch or something and it works a little, it doesn't work enough. We need to increase different strengths. So a lot of what we do is iterate with you to help you over a period of time feel better.
Right. And so you launch the company. And we'll get more into an experience of what it is to go through Midi Health, because it's interesting too how many people still have aversions to telehealth in particular,
Yeah.
thinking that you need to be in front of somebody, or when do I get my blood drawn, or are you going to do my blood pressure? And you know
Yeah.
what I mean? That kind of stuff. But it's, obviously it's here, it's the future. So when you started it and you were launching it, how you partnered with some doctors, you found some amazing people, you did the study. What was the main thing that you found from the study that surprised you?
The lack of education.
Yeah.
Honestly, the people really don't know what to do and what to take. And
Yeah.
they're very scared because they don't have the right um, knowledge. And then they're going on TikTok and then they're seeing very different suggestions and they don't know who to trust. And
Yeah.
so a lot of it was realizing the most important thing we could do is be trusted and get the right doctors and get the right information to women to give them that education.
Yeah.
And that was a big part of what we're trying to do.
Right. And so that you needed a lot of funding, right? And as a
Yes.
woman, I mean, the good news is you're from finance, but to go out and get funding. And I know that you've raised really large tranches very recently. I think I've even featured it in the newsletter, as but, tell us about that process.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, funding is never easy. Uh, what is interesting to me now is that the things that people, obviously, the things the investors were worried about when I was first starting was, is anyone going to care about a menopause company? What is menopause? That's kind of changed, right?
In
In the
four
last few years,
years.
yeah, a lot has
Crazy.
changed since then.
Yeah.
Um, and but those were the hardest conversations, right? When we first got started, trying to explain that women did need this, that we could create something good, that was really hard.
Yeah.
Um, Now that we're big and taking care of a lot of people, it's in many ways, it's a very different conversation because now we can show people numbers, right? So now we
Yeah.
can say, look, here's how much revenue we're generating. Here's how many people we're taking care of a week. Here's what their long-term value is. Here's our CAC. Like we have a business model that works. And so when we show them the business model, it makes it much easier.
Yeah, I can imagine. What are the statistics in med school? Like, you get what, 3 to 4 hours of training on menopause, or used to. Hopefully, that has changed.
It has not
And
changed, right?
no, no, are you kidding? Right? That's
No,
insane.
no, it makes sense though. I mean, the truth is medicine is mostly focused on things that like live and die, right? It's about
Yeah,
death. And this is about optimizing. And
yeah.
so it's a little different perspective when people are
Oh,
talking about
okay.
it and where they're spending their resources.
That's so interesting. Yeah, I never really thought about it like that. So to convince somebody when and they think it's something doctors should know, and doctors they don't learn in med school. I'm sure it was difficult to raise that money, but you did. Here you are. You've grown like I don't even know. Tell us about your growth.
Yeah. So we're taking care of almost 20,000 women a week.
That's
Um,
crazy.
and yeah, it's exciting. We are taking care of a lot of women. It is very, very exciting.
What is the average age of them starting?
46.
46. Yeah. All right. I mean, I feel like there's so many women who are like, I don't need it because, I haven't stopped my period yet. And I was like, that's not the point. Like, you need it before, actually. You need all the education and the resources before. Even
The
if,
two biggest myths, it's
yeah,
so funny you say that, Jennifer. The two biggest myths. Myth number one is I'm not in menopause yet, or anyone over 35 is in perimenopause, right? Like by definition, it just means fluctuating hormones and going down. If
right,
you're in your 30s, 40s, you are in perimenopause.
right.
100%. I want to like get rid of that myth. You
Yes,
may or may not need hormone therapy yet, right? Like you could decide that, but don't think you're not in perimenopause because you are. That's number one. Number two myth is I'm done with menopause. So I don't need to do anything. And all that menopause means is that you haven't had your period for a year. That's all it means. But
yeah,
that the best time to start hormone therapy, sorry, the all the time younger before menopause is good. But after you have 10 years post menopause, whenever your menopause is, you have 10 years, which is the perfect time to start hormone therapy. If you start it within 10 years, um, it's good for your bones, it's good for your cardiovascular health, and it's good for your brain health. They know that. So every time a woman says, I'm done with that, I'm like, no, you're not done with that. Your bones are still deteriorating every
yeah,
day. If you take hormone therapy and you lift weights and you do other things to help your body, you can keep your bones strong. You are not done with menopause. And same thing with your cardiovascular health. Women die of cardiovascular disease. That is what they die of, much more than breast cancer, for example. They die of cardiovascular disease. There is very, very good research that shows that taking hormones within the first 10 years after menopause significantly reduces your chance of getting cardiovascular disease. So you're not too early and it's not too late. It's really both. And I want people to know that.
right. So it's a very wide range of time that you can optimize. And like if you say the average age is 46 to, and average age of menopause, isn't it like 52 or
I
something?
think so. Yeah.
Yeah. And then at 10 years, that's 62. That's a very wide range,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know, to get these
Right.
services. Okay, so when you got the study, you started raising a bunch of money, and then you're like, now we have to grow. Like, how are you getting the word out there and gaining the trust of people, women, to be like, we can handle this. You don't need to make an appointment with somebody, then wait 6 months.
Yeah. I mean, we have a whole lot of different marketing strategies, right? A lot of it is just education. We use social media to educate. We put out a lot of videos. We put out a lot of content on our website about perimenopause and menopause. Um, we give a lot of webinars. We do a lot of webinars, like our doctors. A lot of this is very grassroots, right? Our doctors are doing webinars. They're giving presentations to employers about why they should care about menopause. A lot of it is grassroots marketing, quite honestly.
And are you also doing research behind everything as you is that part of it? Like, and what kind of things are you finding that like we just don't know yet?
Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited. We do have more data than anyone else in the world, right, about this age cohort. And we just did a study with Blue Shield of California where we looked at our data and we found that when women get appropriate menopause care, number one, they're less likely to get diabetes. Um, Number two, they cost 21% less to the insurance company. Um, and there's a lot of other good benefits too. So we're starting to really see that when women get appropriate care early, it makes a big difference to the cost and to their health.
Right. And HRT, it's affordable, right? And
It's covered by insurance. It's like a $20 copay.
exactly. Well,
Right.
different kinds, right? I mean, I know that there are different kinds that are can be really expensive if they're combined or something like
Yes,
that.
right.
Yeah. Um, so as you're growing and you're helping 20,000 women a week, like, how are you finding these doctors?
So we train them. So we recruit people and then we train them. And we have a very intensive training program that we've created and we keep on adding more to it. But essentially, we do a lot of training to make sure they have all the information. You can't hire people who know this. So instead, you have to train providers.
And is it still with the original doctors that you
Yeah, they're
started
still
with?
here. Yeah.
I love that. How many doctors do you have now?
So we have doctors and nurse practitioners. We have about 350.
Wow. I mean, you were creating an entirely new marketplace
Yeah.
as well,
I feel
right?
like we're creating a new specialty, like a midlife
Yeah, you
women's
are.
healthcare specialty, right?
Yeah.
Like that's essentially we're creating midlife care specialists who can help women, and that's never been done before. But that is really what we're doing.
Right. Oh my God. Amazing. Congrats. When it comes to, I know that there's also like a lot of complications where it could come with somebody who's had breast cancer before or
Mm-hmm.
certain kind of different hormone deficiencies, et cetera,
Yeah.
or any kind of autoimmune, et cetera. Like, can you talk a little bit about that without obviously giving medical advice? But I feel like a lot of women are misinformed by their gynecologists around this and their cancer doctors, quite frankly.
Yeah. So we actually have an entire specialty that we've launched on survivorship. So to help women who had breast cancer to manage their menopause symptoms. The interesting thing here is that people think that there's a connection between estrogen and they believe that somehow, taking hormone therapy is related to cancer. It's not. Like, I
Right.
should say this, like, there's no evidence that hormone therapy gives you cancer. Zero. The study that you referenced earlier actually showed that women who take estrogen only had a 30% less likelihood of having cancer, 30% less of breast cancer. So we know that hormones do not cause breast cancer. That said, if you have an estrogen positive breast cancer, then there's a period of time where you cannot take hormones. And for those women, instead of the way that I've heard our doctors explain it, and I want to say also, I'm not a doctor, but this is how I've heard them explain it, is that hormone therapy is like a blanket everything, helping everything in your body. If you can't take hormone therapy because you're within 5 years of having breast cancer, then you go body part by body part, and you can take different things to help each body part. So it might be that black cohosh will help you with hot flashes. It might be that a cortisol manager will help you with stress. It might be like, so body part by body part. And then also vaginal estrogen, everyone can take, even if you had breast cancer. So
Right.
the most interesting thing that we're doing, however, and I feel very, very, very proud of this, is we had all these women coming to us and saying, I had breast cancer and I feel like my life is over because of my menopause symptoms. I don't sleep. I have anxiety. I can't have sex anymore. I'm angry. Like all the symptoms are hurting me. And what we have started to do is have a risk benefit analysis with those women and say, here are the benefits of hormones. Here are the downsides. If you're within 5 years, you probably shouldn't take it. But if you're outside of that, we will let you choose. And this to me is one of the most important things that MIDI does. What we are trying to do is put women back in the control. And women can say, I want to try this medicine. And we're going to say to them, if we don't recommend it because you cannot take it, it's really going to, cause great harm, then no. For everyone else, yes, let's try it. Let's give you that option. And I feel so strongly about that. Like, I don't think our job should be gatekeepers. It should be enabling you to live the life you want to live.
Yeah.
And that is what really gets me excited about all this, is giving women these options and giving them the choices to try things. Do you want to try testosterone? Try testosterone. Try testosterone. Do you want to try Semoralin, which is a peptide that might be good for your bones? Try that. Like, my job is to not be a gatekeeper. Instead, it's to say, if you'd like to try things, we're going to be here to support you. And I just love that new
Yeah.
perspective.
Well, in particular, because we all know as women, like every symptom that we were having, we go in and it's like we're being gaslit. And it's like, oh, it's just pain. You just go through it. It's like somebody was just telling me recently how their 13-year-old has her period and is in so much pain. She's like crying in the bathroom. And I was like,
Oh,
that's not okay.
no, right?
It's not okay. Like, and the
Yeah.
doctor keeps going, well, that's just what happens. I'm like, that's not okay. Same parallel here. It's
Yeah.
just like all the pain is just fine, and
Yes.
like and so having these conversations about being in pain all the time and just sucking it up, like, I'm just so happy. Like, you give somebody a choice. It's like, because these symptoms can be debilitating to your life.
Yeah.
I know women who, like, I've never had a hot flash, right? But, I've had massive joint pain. I know people who are like, I want to kill my husband. Like, I want to kill him. And
Yeah.
I'm like, here's a phone number. Like, it's like, and it comes on this rage,
Yeah.
and then you think, oh, I don't know. Am I supposed to go to a rheumatologist, or am I supposed to go to an endocrinologist? Like, where's the guy that tells you all of these things, and
Yeah.
it's so difficult. And
Yeah.
also, a lot of bad advice, unfortunately, from gynecologists, that are trying their best. But my gynecologist was awesome. And she was like, oh, if you feel fine, you should just stop taking it.
And we know that's bad advice.
It's
Like,
horrible advice.
it's horrible. Your bones, the most important thing that estrogen can do, or one of many things, is keep your bones strong. As soon as
Yeah.
you stop taking, within 1 year, you lose all of the benefit of the hormones and your bones start deteriorating again.
Yeah. I know. Trust me. I was like, this is not, I had a frozen shoulder. No one could tell me what it was. It was perimenopause. And it's like,
Yeah.
it was before people knew that it was a thing. I literally found a doctor at HSS on March 12th, 2020, that
Really?
put a saline solution in like the back of my shoulder blade. And I couldn't even move my arm above my shoulder.
Wow.
I'm left-handed, my left hand. And it literally resolved itself within 12 hours. I'd been going to PT for 6 months, you
Wow.
know?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Right. So it's all of that. And it's like, what do you tell people when, they come to you and like their gynecologist is giving them the wrong advice,
Yeah. Right.
It's difficult because it's not like they're trained in it.
Right. Yeah.
So you guys, you're like, again, you're helping 20,000 people. How many rounds of financing have you done? People are always interested in understanding how you guys grow and build.
We've done 3 rounds of funding.
In 4 years. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And it went from, does anybody care about menopause? It's like, how about every single person in your life that is a woman?
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly. Isn't that funny?
to, and then, what are their questions now? What are the main concerns now?
For investors,
Yeah.
historically, we've been a services company, right? And we do provide care. I'm always going to be primarily a services company because that is the most
Right.
important thing that we do. But what we found is that what women were telling us is they also want us to give them products, right?
Yeah.
Because they wanted to know from us what products to trust, what they should be taking. And so we started really thinking about this and realized that there was an opportunity. Women love and need supplements, right?
Yeah.
They love them and they need them. Like, as we get older, there are things that we can do. And so we started working with scientists and pharmacists and saying, like, what are the top things that women need that they're not getting enough of? And how can we formulate that the right way? And so we created our supplement line that we just launched last week. And essentially, it has 3 products, although more are coming. The first
Yeah.
is gummy fibers, and
Ooh.
they are delicious and sugar free. So think about Metamucil, right? How
Yeah.
people always take Metamucil. It's fiber. It's actually really good for you, but you have to stir it up and you feel like an old lady. So these taste delicious. They are sugar free and they help you. Fiber has a lot of benefits. Women don't get enough fiber. But one of the best benefits is that it helps you stabilize your sugar throughout the day. So I actually
Right.
take two in the mid afternoon and two, like, I sorry, mid morning and two in the afternoon. And it helps me so I'm not snacking as much and feel full.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm very excited about this.
And
And then,
gorgeous paccage, by the way. Loving the
ah,
colors.
thank you. Me too.
Yeah.
My
That.
biggest problem is actually not eating too many of them. Because they're really good.
It'd
And
be a
then,
problem literally when you're on the go.
yes, exactly. And then we did a cortisol support. So
Oh, great.
anxiety is a big issue, right? And cortisol spikes.
Yep.
And so this is magnesium, L-theanine, and ashwagandha.
Yeah.
And I found that that actually works really well for evening when you're stressed,
Yeah.
or you're
Yeah.
having brain racing.
No, I take all of those things on their own, you know?
Yeah, so we put them all in a capsule. Very
Yep.
exciting. And then
Love
we
it.
made a brain boost, which is B12, and excited about that. And then there's a bunch more coming. So
Is
essentially,
it, B12 is the folate too, yeah?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I just had my blood work and I'm very low in, which is
Ah,
very
okay.
common. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, so when you talk about what do investors want, right? What do investors want? They want me to not just be a services company, but be a product company. We
Exactly.
think the best thing we're doing here is building a trusted women's healthcare brand. No one's ever done that before. There's never been a trusted women's national healthcare brand, and that's what we're
Right.
building. And so if I take good care of you, which I will, because I'm going to make sure that our providers take great care of you, then you're going to say, okay, what should I be doing for my fiber or what should I be doing for my supplements? And then also, we're like making some great vaginal creams, for example. Like women, there's some really interesting products that we can start developing to help your libido, to help your skin. We have an estrogen cream for your skin, which works really well. So we're
Yeah.
basically creating products that women want.
Yeah. And well, that you know that the ingredients are good and not just, as
Exactly.
they say, expensive pee, right?
Yes, exactly.
Like, yeah, because you
Yeah.
don't, it's like it's hard to tell like who should I be buying from,
Yes.
and which products have the best ingredients, etc.
Right.
I've also been hearing a lot about prolonging ovarian health in general.
Hmm.
Is that something you guys talk about or research or? Um,
We read a lot about it. I think it's a long ways off, quite honestly, Jennifer.
yeah,
I don't think it's soon. So I think it is a nice idea.
right.
I love that the researchers are doing this. I'm just not optimistic that it's something in the near future.
Right. I didn't think it was in the near future, but it's no different. Like, for the audience, it's like we sit there and try to preserve sperm and, the testes are, these
Yes.
coveted thing. And it's like, well, what about our ovaries? And when, and like not saying we want to keep having babies or having our period, but like any kind of interplay between those, which I've, found fascinating to try to understand that because there's all these things that we're like, why didn't we think of this? I'm
Yeah.
so happy that there's women behind most of these menopause companies. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like from
Yeah.
the tampons to the speculum to a mammogram. Like, why do we have all these arcane things still? It's insanity. And
Yeah.
why didn't we think of it sooner? You know what I mean? It's just like, so, I mean, I'd love to hear, from you. It's like, obviously you said it's your fifth act, you're out raising large sums of money. I mean, your last round it was in the paper. It was like, I saw an article about it.
Yeah.
How much
I
was
think
it?
it, yeah. We've raised a lot of money.
Yeah. So, those like huge amounts, which we know very few female founders get. And in particular, growing something in an area that men don't really understand. Although I think that's changing. What was it that you were like, I'm going to make this happen, even though, you're not a doctor?
Yeah.
Like, what was it that just fueled you? Because everyone was having these symptoms, right? But you're the one who said, fuck this, I'm doing it.
I think there's something tied to menopause, right? Like I don't give any more fucks. Like,
Yeah.
right? Like I can say what I want at this point in my life. I can do what I want. Like I'm very privileged in that sense and I just want to make a big difference. And so I'm not scared of anything anymore because it doesn't really matter. Instead, I'm just
Right.
really motivated to build MIDI into a really big company that takes care of lots of women. And that is very motivating to me. Uh, the opportunity to take care of millions of women a year and make sure that they get better care is such an incredible motivating factor. And so I just focus on that. I focus on, I need to be taking care of millions of women. Millions of women don't have enough care. There are not enough
Yeah,
primary care doctors. There's not enough OBGYNs. Half the counties in this country don't even have an OBGYN.
I
I am
know.
not competing. I am growing an opportunity. And
Yeah.
so it's so exciting that I can just focus on that and focus on the opportunity to grow this thing and to serving lots and lots of women. And that is very motivating to me.
So let's talk about like if there are women and they're listening or and and like they want to come on and get some help. What is the process for that?
Oh, I mean, we've made it really easy. All you do is you go to our website, joinmidi.com. You put in your insurance information. There is a self-pay opportunity, but most people use insurance. And then you book a visit with one of our providers in your state, and then you just come for a video visit. It's as easy as that. We will send you a form beforehand to fill out about your health system, your health issues. And afterwards, we might send you to get a blood test so we can work with you on optimizing. But mostly, we are our job is to make this as easy as possible. One thing I will tell you I'm very proud of is that we have, Fortune 50 CEOs as our patients, and we have Amazon factory workers as our patients. Like
Yeah.
it's that range. And what the women love is they can do their call from the carpool lane. They can do it from their office. They can do it from their bedroom, right? They can come to a visit with us wherever they are, and they don't have to take a day of work off, right? And then we will call their prescription into the pharmacy and they'll get it that day. So we're trying to make care really accessible and easy for women.
So when they're doing that, again, like we were talking about in the beginning, like some women get like, oh, well, they didn't see me or didn't have the blood work. Like, how do you make them feel okay with that understanding,
It's
what the
funny you say that. Someone called me the other day and she went to her primary care doctor. She's like, the primary care doctor actually didn't touch me. I was like, right. What do you think they're going to touch? Like, what do you want them to do? Most care is just talking in this
Yeah,
category. It's just talking. And then
yeah,
we'll send you to get a colonoscopy and we'll send you to get a mammogram because really important stuff. If you need a
yeah,
blood test, we'll send you to get a blood test, but you don't need that in your doctor's office. So our job is to make it as easy as possible to coordinate all that and to do the hard stuff, which is the talking. How are you
yeah.
doing? Tell me about your anxiety. Tell me how you're sleeping. Tell me about your libido. Those are the conversations, right? And how are we best optimizing for you?
Yeah, and I also think it's a newer thing to go get blood taken outside of a doctor's office, right?
Right.
Into a lab.
Yeah.
Like I had never done that until after COVID.
Yeah.
I would go into the doctor's office and do it, and I was like, oh, there's these labs all over. I don't know what it's like in rural areas. It's probably much harder, but to understand all that, it's just such a mindset shift in a very short period of time
Yeah.
and so yeah, you're right. It's like I've gone to doctors and I'm why am I here? Like
Right.
why did I just spend the time to get here if we could have done this online? You
Yeah.
know,
Right.
because yeah, there's other things I would want to be doing other than traveling to a doctor. Trust me.
Well, and I think what you're going to see, the world is going to evolve, and we're working with a number of hospital systems on this. I think that in general, the hospital systems are going to be where you go when you have cancer, right?
Right,
You're
of
going to
course.
go into the hospital when you have the need to be seen in person. And then I think there's going to be brands like us that you trust to get the virtual care. And what's important is just that we have these partnerships. So, for example, in New York City, we have a partnership with Mount Sinai where we have a hotline to get you into Mount Sinai quickly if there's a reason for you to be seen in person. And so Midi patients have a really great handoff to in-person care. And we're working on that. We have one of those with Memorial Hermann in Houston. We're developing more of those relationships. I think that's really important. Like the handoff to when you need in-person care, we'll make sure that we have a great doctor for you to see.
Right. And, and you just mentioned this, which I didn't realize even that you guys can also take care of getting the mammogram and
Yeah.
colonoscopy, right? Which
Yes.
would traditionally you would get through your
Exactly.
gynecologist,
Yeah. So we
right?
do all that for people.
Right. Exactly. So would people still have they'd still have a primary care doctor? Yeah.
So, I mean, the truth is most women don't. Um,
Yeah.
right? Like, yes, theoretically, you should have a wonderful local um, doctor who knows you really well and can take care of you, but almost no one has that anymore. So
Yeah.
50% of the women coming to us don't even have a primary care doctor, and we end up doing a lot of that. We don't do urgent care, but we end up doing a lot of the other
Yeah.
stuff for them.
Yeah. 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 But what about like your annual exams, like a gynecological one,
Yeah, so
pap
we're
smear?
going to have an at-home pap smear.
Yeah,
Um,
my God, thank God. My daughter who's 12, I just don't want her to have to go through all
right?
the shit that we did. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's at-home pap smears. We're actually partnering with one at-home pap smear company. There's also a way you can actually just go to LabCorp Request and do it yourself and just give it to them.
Wow.
So I think you're going to see more and more of this going to the home, right?
Yeah.
And so I believe that in the not so distant future, you will not be going to the doctor for your annual exam.
Yeah. And they'll get rid of the Roman times, which was literally the speculum was like, it's from Roman times.
I know. Yes, right? Isn't that crazy? And so many women don't get that done every year because they hate the experience. So I'm optimistic that by having a better experience for them, more women will do it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Um, Sorry, a fire truck just went by. As you can tell,
Okay.
I'm in New York City, you know.
Yeah.
They didn't stop for me to interview you, unfortunately. This has been so amazing, and like it's just so crazy. Like even in New York City, we're still like I can imagine all women across the country just not having the proper care. So I'm just so happy that you've done this. It's become so big in such a short period of time, and thank you so much for coming on. But there's always one question that I ask at the very end, and that is, what is the worst advice you've ever received?
I think a lot of time women are not encouraged to think big enough.
Mm,
So I feel like often the advice has been be practical, right? Like,
yeah,
and every time I've been practical, particularly with this company, I have not dreamed big enough.
yeah,
And I think a lot of times we're not encouraged to dream big enough. And so I feel like there's just a lot of people saying, be very practical, give them the right financial model, think through this very carefully. And very few people are saying, manifest how big this can be and work backwards. And I find the more that I manifest how great this could be when I'm taking care of millions of women, what does it look like then? And then I go backwards to how to get there. That works really well for me, as
yeah.
opposed to the
I love
bottoms
that.
up approach. So I'm trying really hard to not listen to the people who are like, be very cautious,
Mhm.
don't spend too much money. Like a guy on LinkedIn, someone mentioned LinkedIn. A guy on LinkedIn, when I got my last round of funding, he's a very well known guy, very well known, very well regarded. And I actually think he's great. I announced my round of funding before the last round I announced. And he said, my advice to Joanna, you're raising too much money. And he put it on LinkedIn and he has a big voice. He's like, you're raising too much money. You're never going to spend all this money and you're going to, not be efficient with the money. And I wrote back, I was like, wait, would you ever tell a guy not to raise this much money? Like, and
Yeah,
and also like building a national healthcare company to take care of millions of women, that costs money. So don't tell me not to raise a lot of money, tell me to think
yeah,
big. And I
yes.
think that is
Good for you
something to
for
think about.
responding. Yes.
Yeah.
Wait, one little side question before. When you ever, because I get into these ruts too, where it's just like I just get in the day to day and don't think big enough. What do you do to get yourself out of that?
So I'm joking when I will say I'm a very practical, non woo woo person. So when
Yeah,
someone first talked to me about manifesting, I didn't get it. I was thinking like, oh, I'm going to manifest going to the moon, like, you know, but I've actually found that manifesting for me is, where do I want to be? Like,
yeah,
what do I want this to look like? How do I want to be seen? And then work backwards.
yeah,
And that for me, of like getting out of my day to day rut and manifesting the big thing and then working backwards, is very helpful. And so I'm trying to train my brain to think like that and to think like, what could this be? Like, if I wanted to make sure that women throughout this country all have access to great primary care to great perimenopause care to great menopause care. Make sure they all have access. Like, what does that look like? And then we work backwards.
Yeah.
That works very well for me.
I love it. Great advice. Great thing to end on. Thank you so much. Say one more time if people want to find you and Midi Health, where do they go?
Yeah, just go to joinmidi.com and we can give you care. And if you want the daily brain boost or our yummy, delicious fiber, you just go to shop.joinmidi.com.
I love it. Thank you so much for this interview. It's so exciting and such a wealth of knowledge, and congratulations on everything you've done. And to
Thank you.
everyone listening, thank you for listening to this episode of Taking Care of Lady Business. Until next time, I'm Jennifer Justice. Thanks to MedJet for supporting the Lady Business podcast. If you're hospitalized or your security is threatened while traveling, they can get you home. I'm a MedJet member and have been for years. Everyone who travels should be. Enroll before your next trip at medjet.com. Thanks for tuning in to Taking Care of Lady Business. Don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, and review. And also share this episode with a friend who needs that extra push to own their success. If you want more strategy stories and exclusive content, follow us on TikTok at Taking Care of Lady Business, on Instagram at thejustice.dept and Jennifer Justice L, or visit our website at thejusticedept.com. Taking Care of Lady Business is a production of Lady Business LLC.